Hello. Oh, wait, you're muted. Ooh, gallery.
Hi.
Ah, wait, what's happening? Okay, here you go. Hi. Okay, yeah. Hi. How are you guys doing? Good. Okay. I was just looking back at the email. Wanted to like review real quick. Like, what did I write? It was long. Oh my goodness. I just did the most Taurus full moon thing. It's just that I spent literally the most money I've ever spent. No, it's not true. No, it is true. It's the most money I've ever spent on furniture in one thing, in one go. Uh, I was going to say it's not the most expensive piece of furniture I've ever bought. This is the most expensive piece of furniture I've ever bought. It's not even that much. It was like a $650 couch or something like that. But this was the first most expensive piece of furniture I ever, like a grown up piece of furniture that I bought new that I didn't get off of like Craigslist or some shit, like, or like donated as a hand-me-down. But I've been wanting to move out of this apartment since like the day I moved in. I know I love my apartment. I don't like the building and I don't love my neighborhood. And so it was always meant to be temporary. And I just passed a year. It's also very cheap. Hence the building in the neighborhood. Like the apartment is nice, but I definitely am paying a rate that reflects the quality of the building in the neighborhood and the management company. And like, if stuff breaks, they're never going to fix it. You know, it's just not that nice. But I am from a place where you see the water everywhere all the time. And like being here for 4 years and being so landlocked has made me really realize that like I'm not healthy when I can't see water. I just need it. So like once a week, I spend like an hour looking for new apartments. And then I decide not to move because I had made this kind of deal with myself that I was going to try to stay here until I was ready to buy something because it's so cheap here. And so that's like consideration number one. Consideration number two is that the living room furniture I have, with the exception of this couch, is all stuff that I bought like over 10 years ago and on Craigslist. It was like all hand-me-downs when I got it. And it's fine. It's functional. It's not super cute. Like I don't love it. And a couple months ago, I was at Big Lots trying to get like sponges and soap. And they had these gorgeous entertainment centers that had a built-in like fake fireplace, which is another thing I love. And you know, I was like, it is the ultimate Big Lots experience to come here for sponges and soap and spend $600 on an entertainment center. But I did not do it, but I was really tempted. And since then I have not been able to get it out of my head. And so I was like, well, if I got a different entertainment center that had a built-in fireplace, as we come into the winter and things get cozy, the winter in LA, it's going to be like 55. But I was like, okay, but if I get that, I also really want a new rug because I got this rug for like $20 used and it's got like the animals have destroyed it and the seams are coming apart. It's kind of gross. So I was like, well, if I got that, then I'd also want a new rug. And I was like, now if I got that, it's going to throw off the whole dimension of the living room. And the thing I have now, you guys can see, it's like really long, low, wide. It's like two entertainment centers side by side. And so it also has my record player, records on it. And I was like, well, if I get this new one, the record player won't fit. So then I'm going to have to get something else to hold the record player. But then I had this vision, see? Now, come with me. We are redesigning the whole living room. Here we go. So the new entertainment center thing is like half that width, but a little taller. So it'll take up less of this wall and be a little taller. It has a fireplace in the middle. Then this pile of crap on the floor. It started out as a very nicely organized single basket that is full of dance things. Right now it's like a single basket full of dance things and a ring light stand and some other like equipment has just been piling. There's extra stuff in there right now because it's cat stuff. But I was like, oh, if I get a little shelf that lives in this corner, like a little bookcase that the record player sits on, then also the USB speaker sits there. And then all of the music stuff is now in the dance area, which makes a lot of sense. But it should be prettier. So if I get sari curtain fabric and goes all the way up this wall and drape it across the top and scoot the mirrors over a little bit and drop it down, it makes the dance area like a little bit more of like a pretty room. Because when I fantasize about having a new apartment, I fantasize about my dance area being like a sensual cave that makes me want to dance. And I was thinking about what that would look like. And I was like, oh, I want like a gorgeous Moroccan pendant light that like makes geometric patterns on the walls. And I want sari stuff. And I was like, but I could do that here, right? I could do that here. This could all happen. Kim, yes, help me. So I was like, that could all happen here, which also starts to make this less of one giant long room and more of like two little rooms. So shelf here with music stuff on it. Pretty fabric here, drapey pretty fabric drops down. This is now smaller, right? Because it has like the thing with the fireplace. I'm getting a cream colored rug. And then I was like, oh, but what I really want, because I think I showed you guys before, I had gotten all these floor cushions and like fuzzy pillows. They're all in the closet because I'm cat sitting and I didn't want them to become a cat fur magnet. But what I want in life, because I've been thinking about hosting more small workshops at my home, I want the kind of living room where people want to walk in and dive into it and like lay on the floor and sit on all the surfaces. So this coffee table is being replaced with a round, fluffy ottoman that has storage. So all of the floor pillows can go inside if they need to, but it's all like tufted and round edges and like soft. And I'm getting like a cream colored rug. And the ottoman thing is it's like a dark navy blue with nail heads, really pretty. And then, and then Ruckus's chair, which is my meditation chair that currently lives there. I've been actually wanting like an altar table. So now with this space changed, Ruckus's chair could live here, facing in this way. So there's more of like a circular seating in the living room. And when I have more people in, we don't have to just sit on the couch and face the TV. People can kind of sit around. And then I can put a meditation table in that nook and actually like have an altar tucked away. So I was like, yeah, that's the kind of thing that I would usually make a giant wish list for and then be afraid to spend that much money at one time on myself or for my house. So my Taurus full moon abundance. First I was like, well, maybe like if I hit my sales goals for November, maybe I'll wait till Black Friday. Like maybe I'll, and I was like, out of my fucking checking account in one go. So I couldn't find the exact curtains I want, but I have a feeling that like the curtains, the shelf that's going to go in that corner, quite possibly the meditation table, I'm going to find at Goodwill's. Like I still am happy to like source some of those things like in thrift stores and stuff, but I bought a gorgeous like round tufted storage ottoman coffee table. I bought a gorgeous like distressed wood entertainment center with a fake fireplace, and I paid fucking $90 to have some men come build it for me because I'm pretty. And I'm going to sit at my desk and drink coffee while they build it because it's a Taurus full moon. I am not doing it. And I'm going to wear a onesie and be like, here guys, you need a screwdriver? You guys do it. And I had like one moment of being like, ooh, it's so much money. And then I was like, no, bitch, it used to be so much money. Now it is exactly as much money as it costs for me to not want to move out of my apartment for a little while. And that's what I'm paying for. And to have it like look the way I want and feel the way I want. And it makes me really excited to do what I want to do, which is start to host little gatherings here and have tons of like cozy places that people like want to sprawl on the floor and everything feels really soft and warm and inviting. And after I did it, I was like, oh, it's a Taurus full moon. That's why I was overcome with the desire to like re-nest my whole house all at once. Ah, okay. Thank you for letting me. I just did it. And then I remembered what our email was about. And I was like, oh yeah, definitely before our workshop with money, which in May, I would not have bought 3 pieces of furniture all at once with assembly. That would not have happened. Thank you for letting me.
I love that fireplace, by the way. Like that is all we have ever used here. We don't use the apartment's heating. And I'm in Oregon, for God's sake. Yeah. We just flip that bad boy on. It's amazing. Just
I literally, and you guys know this about me, play the fireplace channel regularly. Like I regularly have the fireplace channel on my TV for background. So I'm very excited about Christmas time. And then I was like, I think I'm going to have enough room to get like a large indoor plant. I've been wanting more plants in the house. So it's just like, it's so funny when you grow up, and I'm sure you guys will relate to this, but when you grow up in a certain type of scarcity, and with a certain type of like, you don't replace things that aren't literally falling apart beyond your ability to repair them yourself. Like stuff has to be really, 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 really broken and no longer working to replace it. I've had these things that support my TV, these entertainment centers, literally since 2011, and they were used and $20 when I got them. And I have moved them to multiple apartments. And they're okay. Like they still hold together. They're like decent quality. But every time I've thought of replacing them, I hear like parental voices that say, there's nothing wrong with them. Like they still work. Why would you do that? Like just the fact that they no longer reflect my style or aren't what I want has never been a good enough reason to spend money. I'm like, I'm almost fucking 40. I can have living room furniture that's not used furniture from IKEA from fucking Craigslist. Like, fucking fuck. It's so crazy how these things take forever. Like, I literally called my mom. I didn't exactly ask for permission, but I told her what I was thinking about doing. And she was like, yeah, what? It's going to be like $1,000? You should do it. And I was like, cool. Who are you? What have you done with my mom? My mom's not even like that anymore. She was like that when she was a single parent with 2 small children who wanted new shit all the time. You know what I mean? But it's like, I think that's the other thing we forget is that like the way our parents parented us may not even be reflective of their beliefs now. It's just how they got by when they had kids. It's so fucking wild. And here I am. My mom like internationally travels all the time. I learned so much of my scarcity from her, and she doesn't even live like that anymore. It's like I'm operating off of a belief system she doesn't even have. Fucking wild. Hi, Taurus full moon. Whoa, here we go. All right, that being said, who had a chance to read the email, even if you didn't do anything yet? We checked it out. Who had a chance to look back or think back about where they were before our Taurus new moon money witch ritual in May? And has had any thoughts about any differences that may have occurred between May and now, even if they weren't conscious, but maybe anything that might have seeped in or has changed since May. Thought about it, considered it. Okay, I just want to check in. So let's just start with Jamie. I'm going to unmute you. First, how are you doing? What's going on?
Good. It's a busy day. I just came from teaching my classes. The money and scarcity thing, it's weird. I feel like it's something I should have because I was always really strapped for money growing up. Like it was just my mom and I. She did the whole work 2 jobs thing and all that stuff. But very thankfully I kind of have the it'll show up when I need it. Like and it always has. Like even when I was a kid I wanted penny candy. Like I'd find a penny on the way to the place to buy the penny candy. Or I'd find money I stashed in my jacket and then refound it. Hell, today I found like $200. I'm like, where the hell did that come from?
Awesome.
Just like in an envelope. And then I found some somewhere else. And I'm like, yeah. So I've always had really good mindsets, energy, manifestation. I don't know what else you want to call it. Like money just has always been something that when I need it, it appears. Somehow or another, it's there. So I know I've not had to worry about it.
That's amazing.
So far in my life, which is awesome.
Well, and just such a cool thing about that I'd like us all to take note is that especially when you start having beliefs like that when you're a kid, when you have very little objection, when you're just like, oh yeah, like I find money on the way to the store. Like when you just start believing, I always do, and then you start confirming it because it happens.
Yeah.
It takes up that momentum and it becomes your reality, like in the same way anything else does. So it's really good and expansive, I think, for all of us. Just have someone in this group who is just like, oh yeah, I manifest money. That's just something I do.
Yeah.
It's like when you've not had a block introduced, it's so cool.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm very happy for that because that's a really tough one. And I see the struggle with it all around me all the time. So yeah, it's a really nice thing to just trust that it's going to show up if I need it.
Awesome. Were you at the Money Witch class in May when she came?
No, okay. No, I actually wasn't. And I realized I still need to watch it.
We have it. It's there. Cool. Well, thank you. Lou, how are you? What's going on? What's going on with the play? I know the last time we checked in, you were having some imposter syndrome around the play. Like, what's going on? Catch us up.
We have 3 shows left on the play, and it's going great.
Yay.
Talking about the imposter syndrome stuff really shifted things for me. Like, there's nothing that externally changed or any specific work I did on it except talking about it. But I'm finding that I'm enjoying it much more, and it's showing in my work in it. The last 2 shows were awesome. We were like, the whole company was super relaxed and playful, and it was great. Besides that, I'm like going through a weirdly emotional period. I get really emotional about stuff, and I'm also like facing and confronting stuff that bothers me that I had been like putting off for a long time. Like last Monday, I clear out my closet of all the clothes that no longer fit me or I don't like anymore. That was something that had been bothering me for ages.
Mm-hmm.
I've had some stuff with my mom come up that I'm still like meditating about how to talk to her or what exactly is that I want to say. Also working on some like limiting belief and feelings of unworthiness regarding having nice things with the cell phone thing and technology and stuff. I don't know. It's been like intense. Good intense. Intense.
This is a really great moon.
Hmm?
This is a really great moon to work through that deserving nice things.
Mm-hmm.
And I started asking you about it on the page, but I think a key word we can hone in on there is the deserve part, right?
Yeah.
Like the idea that because you broke something, you no longer deserve things. Like deserve that seems like a really key concept.
Yeah.
Where that came from?
I don't really know. I grew up with not much money and buying expensive things was something that was all really like, there was a whole conversation about, if you're going to have this, you're going to have to take good care of it, and you can't like lose it or break it or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
And also like a whole conversation about, do you really need this? How much use are you going to get out of this?
Yeah, I was kind of wondering if there was that
Yeah.
you know, that parental correlation, which they do, I think, well meaning, like, oh, if you're gonna get it's like a puppy, like you have to take care of it. You're like, it's a phone.
Yeah.
But what it sounds like it sets up a little bit is that there's a worthiness component attached to like the caretaking of the thing, and that like if anything happens to the thing, your worthiness of the thing is retracted.
Kind of.
How that
Yeah.
locking in.
And it's not really like I'm careless with my stuff. I really take care of myself. I'm just clumsy. Like, I drop things regularly. So, like, it's not that I'm not taking care of it. It's, I don't know. There's something there that I can't, like, pinpoint or get to the root of it.
What I wonder is when I said that it seems like I don't deserve a nice phone because I keep breaking them, that becomes self-fulfilling, is that like the mantra there is I don't deserve a nice phone, which means inherently you have to break one if you get it because you don't deserve it. It like that it sets up that subconscious program. Yeah. I don't deserve a nice phone. The second part of the sentence kind of falls away. If there's the belief that you don't deserve a nice thing, you're gonna ruin it because you don't deserve it, right? It's like not aligned.
Yeah, and there's also like scarcity about it. Like, I'm planning a trip to the US next year, and it's a crazy amount of money for me. It's like the most money I have ever spent on a trip. And there's also this thing that if I made this expense that I needed because I needed a new phone because my previous phone like was not working anymore, it would somehow affect my ability to pay for the trip, which is not like, if I look at my budget, it's not actually true. But I have like this idea that I can only be working on one big expense at the time. Like, if I'm saving for the trip, I can't spend money on anything else.
So there's like a few different abundance upgrades in there that are being asked for, right? Like one is the ability to be like, oh, it's going to be okay. I can have the trip, I can have the phone, I can have all the things. One is not dependent on another. I don't have to pick, right? So that's like upgrade one. Upgrade two is I deserve to have a nice phone, period. I still might break it, but I deserve to have a nice phone. Yeah. I deserve to have a nice phone and the most comprehensive service.
And like, if I break it, I can pay for it to get repaired. Like, it's not the end of the world.
Yeah.
Like, I just took it to the service place, and like on Tuesday I'm going to have the phone back with a new screen on, and that's it.
Yeah.
But just like, so like, I feel very anguish-y around it. Like, my chest gets tight and I get a knot on my throat.
Does it feel like you're gonna get in trouble?
It feels more like failing than getting in trouble. With imposter syndrome on the plate, that felt like I was going to get in trouble. But this feels more like failing or letting people down.
Interesting. Yeah, so digging into like who Like looking around in that moment. You think you're letting down when that happens?
No one.
Yeah, and I mean, we logically know that, but like the reaction that the body reaction doesn't. It just makes me think about like my dad making my little brother go back to school with him and dig through all the garbage cans because he had left his retainer on his lunch tray at school for like the 5th time in a row, and they're like $300, and he was like, "You're going through the trash, kid. Like, we can't get another retainer." And then my brother still talks about it. Like, you know, it's just like those little things that happen when we're kids where you're just like, oh my God, like he's 32 and it like affected him so deeply. This time he had to go look through the trash because he left his retainer at school again. Like those things, like that's what's happening in our body. It's not our adult self. It's, you know, our little kid self. Who's like, oh my gosh, I'm going to have to go home. Did he find his retainer though? I don't even remember. The part of us that's like, oh my gosh, I'm going to have to go home and tell my parents that I did this thing or that I broke this thing. And like, and they're going to be disappointed and they're going to be upset. Like we just hold these weird things.
Yeah. And like I was at work when I broke it. Like I was sitting on a meeting and it fell out of my pocket, out of its own will, and like crashed against the leg of a chair and broke. And I worked with my dad, so my dad was there. And he was like super supportive about it and said, "Oh, that sucks. So yeah, go to the service place and get it fixed." Like he was like super supportive. I told my mom, and my mom did what she usually does, that is say, "Oh, that's not that bad." Like it could be worse. And I was like, "Mom, I need you to like listen to me rant about this for a bit so I can get it out." But like, I don't have that reaction from them anymore or from anyone. Mm-hmm. But my body still goes like into shock after it.
It may be a good one to do some tapping through about like that it's safe for you to spend money, that if something breaks, it's going to be okay and you can replace it and like nothing bad will happen. Doesn't mean anything about you. Like it might be good to do some tapping through that for the nervous system reaction. But I'm curious to see how the journaling for this ritual, if anything comes up in there about money and worth.
Yeah.
Awesome. Thank you. Kim. Long time no see.
I know, right? Right? Been forever. How many minutes?
We had a call too.
How am I doing? I'm doing very well. Knee deep in Essential Alchemy Ritual Kit production. Super excited about that. In terms of like prior to Money Witch, I'm a huge fan, by the way, of Jessie Susanna. She's amazing. Yeah, she's amazing. And let's see. Yeah, I had a lot of shame around money, and I was highly irresponsible for a long time and accrued a lot of debt. Blah, blah, blah. I was horrible. I hated looking at my account, had anxiety over it, and then eventually just learned to not this past year, which has been freaking huge. I actually developed a spreadsheet for myself. I track my spending. I'm not crazy obsessed with it, but I'm pretty on top of it. And now I handle things financially from a much more empowered point than I've ever been in my entire life. And I don't worry about money as much as I used to at all. I feel like I have a lot of it. And it's great. Like we were talking about this today, you know, I'm investing, you know, a couple, you know, probably close to $1,500 in products for this line. And I was like, before I'd probably be like $1,500, where am I going to cough that money up? Now it's not even a concern. And when I do my numbers, I'm like, oh, well, if I sell even just a fraction of what I'm doing, I'm going to be okay. And then also in terms of worthiness too, you know, nesting, that has happened to me this year too, where I just dropped a chunk of change on making my home a sanctuary.
Oh my God, Kim's house is fucking dope. Though.
Yeah, my house is. I'm not gonna lie. I spent
time to like something up, and I never wanted to leave.
It's important for me though. It really is. Like I need to be in a place. I'm a designer, you guys. I'm just a visually aesthetic person. That's how I function. Like things need to be a certain way visually for me in my home. In order for me to be comfortable. So my dishes are done. My house is relatively clean, except right now I'm like mid-production. You can't see it, but there's boxes and candles and magical things everywhere. But that's good too. But yeah, the Jessie Susanna thing, she was really eye-opening in terms of how we deal with money energetically and really facing that and making myself do those numbers and create that spreadsheet and be proactive in my money has shifted my feelings towards it. And it's not a thing. Like I don't worry about it. I really don't. I'm like, oh, I'm just going to spend X amount on, supplies. And this thing always comes into my head where I'm just like, yeah, and I can always make more if I need it. I can always make more money. And when I think about how much money I've spent on my apartment, I'm like, yeah, the money is spent. It's gone. And guess what? I'm still here and I'm still making a lot of money. So, okay, cool. I'm good. I dropped, thousands of dollars on my apartment and I'm not homeless. I am still living in abundance. I'm still happy. I have my sanctuary. I'm super happy and more money's coming in. And that's how it is and how it should be and how it will be for me. I'm good. I'm very happy right now.
I love it.
Yeah.
Well, just since we have you here, you had a pretty massive shift and breakthrough last week.
Yeah.
Would you like to share some of like what shifted for you, the block that you shifted and how that's been playing out?
Yeah. Wow. It's been a whole week of feels, you guys. I've cried every single day, but I've cried in gratitude for everything that I have. And there's been so many shifts. Where do I even begin? With building this business and working with Sarah. And I'm not sponsored by Sarah, you guys. This is literally from the heart. She's helped me tune into coming into alignment and integrity with what I'm doing with my life and my business. And the more I work with her and the more I kind of write and create content, the more I understand how it all ties together. And how important it is for me to feel good and passionate about what I'm doing on this planet and what I'm doing with my time. And while the paycheck has been great, the day job, AKA the paycheck, has been great and very wonderful. This past week of finding something and creating something from scratch that means so much to me is like insane. It's insane. There have been so many feelings. I'm so happy.
I'm gonna pause you for just because you're saying all the nice stuff.
Oh yeah.
I feel like you should tell them about the part where I made you cry about your mom in the coffee shop, because I feel like that's where it's I feel like that was the block that got removed.
Oh yeah, the mom thing. Oh, and the best friend thing. So I have two significant people in my life, my mom and my best friend of 20 years, that I'm trying to like, I have no way to say it, but just kind of, we're just moving in different directions. And the thing with my mom was that, are you talking about the caretaking thing?
I feel like there was a big realization that there were a couple of people's approval you were holding out on, or that judgments that you were afraid of that were making you hold back. And that kind of dug into that. What you found, the clarifying was, I don't even want the thing that I'm, the normal thing. Like these people are going to look at me and think I'm not normal.
Yeah. Okay. So there was,
you want that.
There's so many things. Okay. There's been a lot of feels, guys,
that got pulled.
Yes. It was the whole thing of not feeling that I have a life because I'm an artist doing all of these amazing, incredible things, and that I'm somehow missing out on normal life. I have friends that do the normal things. They go to the movies, they go out to dinner, they have social time. And sometimes I actually, a lot of the times these days, I don't even get invited to that stuff. And it hurts my feelings to a certain degree, but I had to reconcile. I'm like, but it's because I am working towards something that I fucking care about that is epic. And I don't want a normal life. I never got married. I never had kids. And it's all fine and wonderful for everybody, but for me, it's never what I wanted. And I've always been an artist, and I've always worked on other things outside of my day job because that's who I am. And for some reason, I had some sort of shame or outcast feeling that, you know, I'm alone and that I'm not normal because I am not doing the normal things that people do, like going out to dinners and movies and stuff like that. So yeah, I had to work through that. I felt kind of like, what was that thing I did? We were talking and I was just like, I'm a weirdo. I'm so weird. And I did this physical motion. I'm like, why did I close up and revert to this like little kid who's alone as an artist? And part of that was also me growing up with a father who got transferred everywhere. So I had to start from scratch constantly, moving to new locations. And a lot of the times I was just alone. So yeah, I became an artist because guess what I did? I created shit when I was alone. And I somehow felt that it wasn't normal, or that I was like the odd person out. And it's not being the odd person, it's being the extraordinary person in myself. And I'm a creator, and it's okay because I'm working towards something that I believe is my purpose. And to reconcile that with being like a quote unquote average person was a huge shift. And boy, I could dive into that this past whole week, and the whole crying and all of that, and friendships and relationships that are shifting in directions that are separating, you know, after 20 years, and even with my mother and my, you know, my best friend. And it's just like, I have to go forward with who I am. There's just no way, no other way for me to go than to go with what matters to me the most. And I'm not going to dim my dreams to make my mom or my friends feel comfortable because they want me to stay with them with this little normal bubble of drinking or whatever. I just feel called to do these things, and I have to go in that direction. So it's been a lot, you guys. It's been a lot, but it's been really good. A lot of crying, but also a lot of just stuff has just been lifted off of my shoulders, and I just am moving forward, period. Just how it is.
It's so cool.
It is.
Guys, I swear sometimes like we'll have these like behavioral patterns that are from a thought that we don't recognize for our entire lives. And just watching like that one thought kind of unravel and shift, and seeing what a huge shift it's made in 1 week is like, it's so cool where you're like, oh, it's like, I feel like the Princess and the Pea. Do you guys remember that story? The Princess and the Pea, right? You're like, it was this little thing this whole time that's been holding back my whole life. Like this one fear that these people are going to think that I'm weird. Really? Like, that's it? I don't even care. Yeah. God, so amazing.
Yeah. And I'll just one more thing. The irony of that is that once I let that go and started really forging like my path and moving forward with this, like I've had people just come up to me and be like, wow, damn, Kim, you are killing it. And I was like, really? Yeah, I guess I am. But like this past week, all these synchronicities are happening where people are like, dude, you're like fucking killing it right now. Or things just work out for me, and just things are coming my way with such ease. And it's all stuff that I love. Like that whole bitchcraft thing, this craft fair. And that one spot just happened to open up, and they're like, you're perfect for it. And I was like, yes, I am. You know what I mean? Just like, it's so cool.
Anyways. So good. Thank you so much. Nancy.
Hello.
Hi.
Hi. Yeah, so it was funny because like when I was reading the email, it's like I'd listened to the Money Witch call after it had happened, But a lot of it's very much been off my radar because it's really hard to call in money when you're moving and you're not actually employed. Like, that's kind of like, and that's also like my reality is like, okay, like I know like this isn't going to happen, but I also just knew like things are going to shift and things are going to change. You know, it's just not ever as fast as you like, but it's, I just definitely like, I've been tuning into and noticing that I just feel less, anxiety and less closed down when I'm like, yeah, like I know I have consistent paychecks coming in every couple weeks. Like this is great. And it gives me that freedom to like look at where I can expand things and what might come next. So it's like, I kind of feel like it's like I don't really have anything really to compare to. Mm-hmm. Because my life situation just changed so much. But it'll be interesting to just kind of see, like, even track it over the next 6 months or so, because as things just roll along. But I'm definitely finding that, like, I just feel very comfortable with the new position that I started. Like, I feel great about, like, the hours that I set down, because it's like, I don't have to run all over the place and kill myself. Like, because the type of situation that it is, you know, I'm in the same location as my clients, so they can come to me during the business day, which means like I can start at 8 a.m., which is fabulous. And I'm by 4, I'm like, peace out, I'm done. Like, I don't have to come in on weekends. There's like none of that. And I'm just kind of thrilled about that.
And I noticed after we talked a little bit in Unstuck, you've been going live in your group more. How's that been?
It's been going pretty good. I didn't wind up doing it at all this weekend because I had some events I was working at and my kids were visiting. So I just kind of let it just kind of percolate. But now I have some ideas for some other things for this next week. And it's been nice. It's interesting because I definitely, if nobody's responding to things, I'm not motivated to continue. I'm just like, well, whatever, I got better shit to do. Like, but did actually have some people like chiming in and like commenting on it even a few days later. So it's kind of like, okay, well, I'm just going to keep, you know, my goal is to at least, you know, post, you know, 4 to 5 days out of the week, even if it's just a little 10, 15 minute video, just asking, like, checking in, like, or just talking about something that I listen to that is on my mind. And kind of see, like, at the end of the month, kind of look back at that and kind of look at, like, you know, where that is. But I think part of it is I'm such a, like, in-person type of person that it just feels really, really weird to talk to a screen. Mm-hmm. Especially, I mean, the what I love about the Zoom videos is I could see everybody's faces. It's like, hey, but with the, you know, with the Facebook's platform, you can't really see it. And, you know, the communicate is just super choppy. It's like the thing where I used to hate, like, leaving people voicemails because I'm like, this isn't an interaction. I'm just, bleh.
Yeah.
But that said, like, I'm kind of like, okay, I'll try this and see how this is. And can also hopefully, like, have people, like, really start kind of not just have it be my group where I put stuff in there. Because my idea for it is it becoming more of a community. It's less about, you know, my thing and my programs and whatever, but actually where people can, like, start, like, bringing things in. So, yeah.
What makes it cool for your format with that being the case is you could invite members to go live with you. Mm-hmm. This is a weird thing on Facebook. I found this out. You can only go live. You can only invite another person into your live video if you're both on your phones. You can't do it on your computer.
Interesting.
Yeah. You're both on your phones, and so you can set it up. But you could open it up to members and say, I'm going to offer free 15-minute spot coaching on one issue or one question that you have. Submit your questions. I'm going to pick somebody, or, you know, and I'll do 2 or 3 a month. And that way you do get to like, A, it's a community. B, you're actually talking to a person and letting people watch and letting people be expanded by that person's question and that person's share. That might be a cool way to get to have live video and make it a little less weird for you to just sit there and talk to the camera. Right.
Which, yeah, because that's always, I mean, I remember like years and years and years ago, like we got our first webcam and I was like, I don't like this. Like, this is just weird. Oh my God. But yeah, I like that idea. I didn't know, I saw that feature the other day, but I didn't know that was something that was only on the phone. So
yeah, weird.
Yeah. So yeah. So, but I'm starting to find like little places where I can go and like sit and like chat and like do my little live videos where, you know, I don't have either a lot of background noise or, I don't know, people wondering what the fuck I'm doing talking to my phone.
Yeah.
Right.
The other thing I've noticed with Facebook's platform that's helpful for me is that I will prompt at the beginning, say like, I had a thought and I was going to talk to you guys today about blah, blah, blah. I want to invite you to drop any questions that you have as soon as people are on. Put any questions you have about this in now, and I'm going to tell you what I came to tell you, and then I'll read your questions, because otherwise you really do. You ask the question, you sit there in silence for like a minute and a half. It's so awkward.
Right, and you were like, yeah.
I have played the Jeopardy music on lives before. I was like, this is so dead while I wait. Yeah. And it's different. And in Instagram, it's different too, because I don't know, it's a whole other weird thing, but each platform has its own unique characteristic to how people
right.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's kind of where that is. Just had, like I said, the kids came down to visit for the long weekend, and that was really nice. So it was like, got the just hang out with them time. So it was really pleasant, and I'm really looking forward to doing the ritual. So I was reading through that and really excited. Yeah.
I feel like, I don't know if you guys have felt the shift, but the past couple of months I have felt a shift. The rituals feel much more channeled. I write them in a very trancy state. That's just how they've been showing up. So yeah, I'm excited. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Laura.
Hi. My computer keeps saying that my internet is unstable. So if I'm freezing up and talking like a robot, that's what's up. I'm really good. I'm like 8 days into a cleanse that I haven't done this cleanse in a few years, and it's felt amazing. It's just been a really good kind of reboot and reset. I've been really feeling the Taurus moon and just like the nesting and the honing in. Like I saw this meme that was like, November is like, say no to anything that you don't want to be doing that's draining your energy. And I'm like, hell yeah. I'm so with that. Like with the time change, I've just been making broth and making tea and nesting in my house. And we got a bunch of canvases. We've been painting, and it's been wonderful. And so I got some watercolors. We do watercolor painting today. So I've been crafting a lot, and that felt good. And just realizing too, the effects of when I'm having sugar and alcohol and cheese and chocolate and all the stuff that I really love, but when I'm having it in excess, and how it really affects me on an emotional level, and just like a layer of just puff and like just feeling not with myself. And I've, really noticed, like for me, when I cut those things out, I notice my emotional system is just so much more even, and I'm just like I'm taking things in stride in so much of a bigger way. And I think that there's been a lot of reflection with like Life Aligned leaving or ending soon, and I just finished up all the material with that, and like the end of the year coming and just moving into the holidays. I've just been reflecting a lot. And
oh no, you froze. Come back. Mercury, get out of Laura's internet.
It's such a difference than I was at the beginning of this year, and it really even just like the last 4 months. Oh
nope, I spoke too soon. No, Laura, you're frozen.
Hello.
Oh, there you are. You're frozen.
Am I there?
That's a deep frozen.
Hey, can you guys hear me?
We can hear you.
No.
Turn your video on and off.
Stop. Okay.
We can hear you.
Am I still frozen?
We can hear you, but your face is frozen. You're frozen in a way that actually looks like you're really mad at Nancy on my screen, which is she's like oh no, we fully lost her. Okay. Well, hopefully she'll get back in and we'll finish her check-in in a moment. Allie, it's been a big week for you.
It has been a big week for me. Okay, but I was thinking about money-wise, though. So in May, I had freshly quit my day job. I still had very full savings accounts and a few paychecks coming in here and there, and I was still finding odd and end work that was giving me random income. Welcome back.
Well, we paused you and started Allie's check-in, and we're gonna come back to you.
Okay, so and I've been slowly depleting all of the savings accounts, and sure enough, some of them have been replenished by sudden windfalls, which is really cool because clearly it just comes from somewhere. Who was saying? I think Kim was saying that, like, it just comes from fucking somewhere. And I took some notes during Lou's little check-in too, because I realized I treat big purchases that same way. Like, I just bought a new phone because my old phone was dying, and I feel like I can't get this other expensive thing that I want to buy now, but I've planned for both things. Both were budgeted. I'm just scared to do them all on top of each other, even though like it's all coming out of the same savings account. It makes no difference, but it's like freaking me out. So that's kind of what I was thinking about with money. Oh, and certifications seem like a racket to me. So fitness people, maybe you can get with me later on this. Like, you pay the National Academy of Sports Medicine or whatever, NASM, or you pay ACE or whatever, hundreds or even thousands of dollars for certifications, wherein you take a written test on shit you're never going to do. Like, I'm never going to teach a spin class. I give no fucks about spin class, but I'm still paying them hundreds of dollars to get a group fitness certification. Otherwise I can't work.
Hold on, let me unmute Nancy. Go ahead.
So just like on this note, so I'm like years ago, like I had a dance cardio certification, but then I realized like if I ever wanted to teach in a gym, which is a really great way to reach people, I had to do the group fitness certification, which actually the awesome thing, I don't know about other organizations, but mine is through ACE. So they generally will do a payment plan, which is awesome. And I think it was around like $300 to $400. And then you go in and you take the exam, and then you renew it every 2 years. But there's a lot of really great ways to like get continuing education units. Some of them are because once you get one certification, you're like, oh, hey, I want to do this other training. And then you get the credit for it. And then then when you do renew it, then your certification, when you renew like in 2 years, is like $50. And a lot of times, and a lot of times that comes with discounts for your insurance.
Yeah.
Which even if you're not teaching a certified format, like pretty much like you got to have some sort of insurance for teaching. It's just, I mean, it's a really good idea. And yeah, there are some of the fitness programs where it's like you could do like, you know, precision nutrition and spend like thousands of dollars. But honestly, a lot of that stuff, unless you're a registered dietitian, it's out of your scope of practice anyway.
Right. Well, and that's not what I mean.
Yeah.
Like,
but I mean, yeah, but it's
useless to me. I don't care about any of that stuff, but I still have to pay some millionaire corporation my $300 plus testing fee for the privilege of working in a gym. And I get it's like liability insurance crap that the gym needs to keep their corporation safe. It seems like a racket, because not only am I paying for the group fit, I have to pay for CPR, I have to pay for continuing education, and a lot of it's stuff I don't care about.
Yeah.
I don't care.
Just to chime in on that, I agree. I feel the same way. I think it's a rebel thing. And all of my certifications are lapsed. And also, I never was a certified Pilates instructor, and I've been teaching Pilates and in gyms for 10 years because I spent several $1,000s on my Pilates teacher training, and the day of the test, I went on vacation. I got the education. Like, to me, it's like my cousin almost got a master's in public health, and after like 22 years in school and like $120,000 in school, she decided that she just wanted to teach belly dance and dropped out midway through writing her dissertation. She realized like she had gone to school for public health back like when she decided what she wanted to do when she was like 18, and she was like, it's been 10 years. Like, I don't want to do public health. I don't fucking care. I don't want to write policy. I just want to teach belly dance. And she had to go through the big hurdle of like, people will be disappointed in me, and it's crazy to drop out so close to the end. But she quit and she didn't finish her dissertation. Does it mean she didn't get the education? No, she didn't get the fucking piece of paper. So like, does she not have a master's in public health? Like, she doesn't have the piece of paper, but she went through all of the same amount of schooling as the person next to her with the piece of paper. So I agree. I also think testing is a racket. I had an ACE certification. I've had a group fitness certification. I've done teacher training in yoga and Pilates and not done the testing part and not done the CECs because I think it's stupid. I still do continuing education. I take classes all the time. I go to workshops. I know in myself the integrity of my teaching and my materials. I have had certifications or licensing at times when I've taught at places that required it, when I did the math and the math made sense. Where I was like, okay, I'm going to spend $300 to get this piece of paper so that I can work here, but I'm going to make $300 a week teaching here. Fine. I'll jump through the hoop. Right?
Like, I crunched the numbers on, I think it was Zumba that I looked at. And after the Zumba cert, and nobody will hire you if you don't have a group fit cert, after insurance, after CPR, like I would have to be teaching 4 or 5 classes a week at the paltry pay that gyms give you.
You would also have to want to teach them. So what I was going to say is it's really about what the place that you're teaching at requires. I have never told people that I held a certification I didn't have. I just would tell people that I went through a Pilates teacher training certification, which is the truth. I just didn't do the one piece that would give me the piece of paper. I could go back and do it now. You know what I mean? Like, I did everything except the test. I did the 200 supervised teaching hours. I worked at the studio. They watched me. They signed off on I did everything except the exam.
Wow.
So, because I don't care. That's not what I did it for. I did it because I want to know. I wanted the 200 supervised teaching hours more than anything else. I wanted master teachers to watch me teach. So that's a personal choice, I think. That's really about your integrity with what you want to, like, if I want to learn something, I want to learn it because I want to learn it, not to get the piece of paper, is what I'm trying to say. If you feel like you don't think you're 100% in your integrity teaching what you're teaching. Like, if you personally are like, you know what, this made me realize I do need more of a background in mobility. I do need a solid grounding in yoga anatomy or Pilates. Go learn it. Go learn it. Like, there's nothing stopping you from learning that. If you don't feel that it's aligned for you to teach at a place that requires you to have a group fitness certification to teach what you're teaching, you don't have to do it. It may limit the places you teach, but only for a little while, because once you've been teaching for a few years, you will then be hired on the strength of your reputation, and it won't matter. Like, I've been teaching Pilates at a college for 5 years. They don't care that I didn't take that test. The strength of my teaching, and like when they come in and have me do demos, they see that I know what the fuck I'm doing. And like Nancy said, things that are outside of your scope of practice. We've talked about this. If someone comes into you and they're too injured, and you know that, and you say, I'm sorry, I cannot work with you, you need physical therapy.
Here's a referral.
Like, you just do what you know. That's like, imposter syndrome is combated by preparation and integrity. If you know that you know what the fuck you're doing, and that you would not take someone through something that was dangerous for the sake of your ego, then you're okay. The ACE group fitness cert is fitness non-specific, and it really does take you through, it takes you through basic exercise anatomy and like how to make modifications for certain injuries. It takes you through heart rate stuff, which you never fucking use. You never test heart rate in a class anymore. You haven't since the fucking 80s. Like, no one like marches in place and does this. But like, it does take you through like, this is how long your warm-up should be. This is how long your active period is. This is how long your cool down should be. These are the major muscle groups that you're working. It's basic exercise science, what the fuck ever. If you wanted to have it just to say that you had it, you could get it online.
Yeah.
And you don't have to keep renewing it. You could get it once to say you had it, to get your foot in the door, and then teach somewhere for a couple years and build up your confidence and a clientele, and then people won't care. But like, I think the bigger thing is you've been going through a lot of visibility struggle around like, do I really think I can do this? And can I do this? And is this okay? Like, who do I think I am to do this? Can I really put this out? Like, you've had a lot of that fear of showing up. To have someone come straight at your insecurity like that and say, well, what are you really certified in that allows you to do this? I think is a super powerful gift. It happened really early on, and you get to face that fear. Like, biggest fear faced, right? It just happened. The thing
I'm not dead, though I did eat an entire bag of potato chips out of stress, which is not my best decision, but
that's okay. I mean, like, you didn't like do meth. Like, potato chips are but how do you feel having had that happen literally in that moment where you're sitting face to face with like, this is the thing I've been scared of?
And you're right, it actually has been really cool, because the more I'm asked those sorts of questions, the more I have to actually figure out how to articulate the answer. And that's one thing I've been really struggling with, is describing what the fuck I'm doing and articulating that in a competent way on the spot.
Yeah.
That's been an excellent practice. It is really cool.
And how was it to have a person show up in your class?
I was really nervous, actually. And to boot, both of the people that came to that class ended up coming a little bit late. So like class started late, and I didn't get through all of the stuff I had planned. So I had to kind of wing it, which is more my style anyway. And I think it was fine. And at the end, I even asked them, so what would you call this? What would you describe what we just did? And they gave me a few keywords and some feedback. So
how did they describe it?
Well, I asked them, what would you call what we just did? I asked them something like that. And they said, mindful movement, or mind-body connection, or mindful connection with the body. They kind of mushed those words around.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
And did you get the impression that the person who had asked about your certifications like felt like, oh, okay, I kind of get it?
Yeah. So but it was kind of vague like that. I wouldn't say kind of stonewalled me, but and I didn't want to ask, right? Did you like it? I didn't want to ask that outright for some reason. That didn't seem right to do. I don't know, but I guess at the very, very end, she's like, well, speaking as Sandy, I think what you're doing is really awesome and I want to do more of it. And speaking as the other person on the board, who's the person on the board, that's really awesome. I want to see what more you're doing. And speaking as the board, we just want these things from you.
Yeah.
So that was cool.
Awesome. So did she clarify what it is that they want from you?
No, I'm not sure what they want. They just wanted to know.
Yeah.
So I guess they're supposed to get back to me, but it's Sunday, so I don't think we'll get back.
I think this is really good. Is there any part of you that feels like there's some education component that you feel is lacking, want to brush up on, want more of? I mean, I know we always want to learn more, but is there something that you feel like it would make you feel more grounded and more confident if you did training in blah?
I mean, there's a lot more that I want to learn. Like, I would love to do a 200-hour yoga thing, or I would love to do a 200-hour Pilates thing. Just because I really want that master teacher watching me teach. I really want that feedback. But as it is, I don't think I need that to proceed.
Do what you're doing, yeah. Powerful. Now dropping that.
Hey, fuck you. I'm like, okay, I'm paying attention. I'm sorry.
So is there any way that you feel that this frees you up a little bit in terms of presenting your offering to the student public and inviting them in? Does it change your center or your confidence in any way?
I think it's helped me clarify more of the wording at the very least. And I feel after I do a couple more group classes, I think I'm going to really hit my flow. It always takes me like 1 or 2 or 3 times of doing something to really hit the groove of things. So that's kind of what I get out of that. And the more I iterate the verbiage and get, put in the spotlight of these questions, it will become easier too.
There's something, I mean, and this is like, it's a cliche, but it's a cliche for a reason. It's really freeing to face our biggest fears. But
yeah, realize, oh, that wasn't so bad. Oh,
right. It's such a good thing to have it happen early on. To be like, oh, I was really afraid that if I let myself be seen, or if I promoted myself too much, that this thing would happen. And then right out the gate, that thing happens and you survive it. And you're like, oh, great. Well, I guess I don't have to be afraid of that anymore. Like, good, cool, moving on.
Yeah. And now I know if I do approach any other studios or other gyms or something with this, to like ask, right, or let them know, hey, I have these certifications, and maybe then we can just skip that whole part.
Yeah. But it also makes me think of things like NIA format, NIA, do you know that format? NIA, and like 5 rhythms and ecstatic. Like there are all of these formats that people have just straight up invented, and then they put like a TM. And like no one goes to a NIA teacher, like, well, now because they formatted their own thing and now they do teacher training in it, and you have to be a certified NIA teacher to use the name. But I just think like the first person who made it up, she's like, there's no certification for this. I'm going to ask you to move like an animal. I made it up in my living room.
Yeah, and like 50 years ago, there was no Pilates, there was no Rolf, there was no Feldenkrais. Like none of that stuff existed until somebody invented it.
Well, Joe Pilates invented Pilates in the 20s, so it did exist 50 years.
Well, then 100 years ago. Jesus, wow. Dude was woke. You go, Joe.
Yeah. You could go Joe. Oh, I always call him Uncle Joe in class. I'm like, Joe was weird. He was a weird guy. Okay. I think this is really good. I'm excited to see where it flows.
Me too. I've spent the last couple of days like freaking out, and then sort of started. I got some tacos for dinner tonight and de-stressed a little bit and played my guitar.
The healing powers of carbs. Thank you. So I want to jump back to Laura because we lost you in the middle.
Okay, let's see if this works.
Yeah.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, good. So yeah, I've been just doing a lot of reflection lately, in general about this whole last year, and it's interesting when I read the email of like looking back to May when we met with the Money Witch and what my relationship then was. There was also, I feel you, Kim, so much. Like I had a lot of shame around money. I've always been really good at manifesting money. Like I've always been able to make it, but it also is really leaky. I've always been like, it just kind of goes away. So I've had like, there's been definitely something there around having security around it. I do have a sense of trust that I know that I have all the skills that I need to be able to make money when I absolutely need it. But there's like a larger scale thing. I've been really in the last few years kind of in denial about the amount of debt that I accrued, like right after I had Inslee and I wasn't working and Jason lost his job and we maxed out credit cards, and I had never really had credit before then, and so I got credit cards and then maxed them out and then felt really overwhelmed with that. So I really diligently since May have been just chipping away at like, let me just look at my credit score and figure out like how to fix it. And there was a lot of shame around that. And 2 weeks ago, I've raised my credit score so much, and I got my credit cards down enough to where I felt comfortable to get a credit card that now I'm accruing miles. Because that was one of the things was like, if I have a credit card and I'm using it, I want to be in a place where I have credit that's good enough where I can get a credit card that I can get miles so that I can use it and just pay it and have it be this revolving credit, but can travel, because that's something that I haven't really been able to do freely. And there's a lot of money coming in and going out. And if I can just like use that card for that. So I'm super stoked about that. I'm about to get like a big bonus of just like almost $1,000 in miles. So that's really exciting. Since May, I've left my job where I wasn't being paid what I was worth, and the universe is so funny with this job in particular. Just like keeps dangling this little carrot where they're like, "Are you sure you don't want to come back? Are you sure you don't want to come back? Are you sure?" And I've had to just really be diligent and no, I like other places just came up out of the woodworks, and this beautiful space called the Sanctuary that I'm doing. I've had my 4th massage there over this weekend, and it is such a healing space that has been like, the magic has been poured into it for years now. This woman has been in this space for over 10 years, and there's just beautiful geodes around, and like she just has it really, I mean, it's beautiful. It is a sanctuary. And all my massages that I've done there thus far, my clients have been like, whoa, like it's just so powerful. Like it's like you just like leveled up in the work that you're doing, because I just feel like I'm able to really hone in on that. And I've just like, people are like, today I had 2 new people that were referrals from other people that are scheduling with me. So like that is just building and expanding. And I'm like in this place where I'm watching. I feel like I've been doing this with the bow and arrow, just like, and then it's about to go swing, like catapulting into the future and into just like all of the abundance and all of the goodness that I've been really wanting to manifest for myself. What's happening. It's very exciting. And yeah. But it's also like, there's been a lot of stuff that has come up for me with like around boundaries with my husband and with some close friends, and just me being on this cleanse, I've been able to really meet these situations that have come up, and just this place of absolute empowerment and just like being grounded of just like, this is what I want, this is what I deserve, and if we're not in alignment, then I'm open to talking about several different options of what this looks like. But this is the kind of life that I want to live. And like a big one is with my husband. And we're really different in a lot of ways. We've been together for a really long time, and we met as both very traumatized people, and our traumas like fell in love with each other. And we've been kind of having this dance that has not necessarily been the healthiest, but there's like deep, deep love there. But I've really needed him to like start doing his work, and he's been resistant to it. And I just had to put my foot down basically and just say, these behaviors right here are not okay with me. They're not okay with me anymore. And I don't want to make you wrong for being who you are, but also I want to be able to live the life that I want to live. And these are some options, and you can choose what you want, because I'm not going to make that choice for you. And then there's going to need to be some follow-up around it. And he has really chosen. He reached out. He found a therapist. He's going to start therapy next week. And yeah, and then he's open to, we're going to start seeing a couples therapist together too. And that's always been about like, oh my God, do we have the money for this? Because it's so expensive. But it's also like, yeah, we do. Yeah, we do. It will come. But we have like, this will help us just be able to expand so much more as a couple, as both entrepreneurs, as what we're doing in this life and in this world. And whether that means that like we're doing this together and in partnership like this or not. And I think that's been a huge, big pivotal moment for me, because I feel like I've had a really big codependent like dependency on my relationship with him, and just realizing that like I don't need that necessarily. And there will always be deep love, and we will always share child, and we will always share life together, but it may just look a little different, and that's okay. And I really felt in my soul that that's okay. And I don't know that that's necessarily going to be the case, but I don't know right now.
That's so profound a shift.
Yeah.
Congratulations. And I just think it's so powerful and so beautiful that once you stepped into your worth and got really clear and drew a firm boundary, he was like, oh, fuck. Let me step it up.
Yeah. Yeah. Because I've been, like to just like summarize a little bit of just like he grew up in a family where his mom was just like did everything for him, didn't want to make her babies work. I grew up on a farm, like literally my parents had us so they had free labor, and like with major like gender roles happening in the home, but my dad was a builder and my dad worked, but my mom was a homemaker. But I just saw that, and their love was really struggly. So, I just stepped into like, well, let me take care of you because you need to be taken care of. And I can do that. I can totally do that. And I just don't want to do that anymore. I'm tired of doing that. Like, I don't want to do that. And there's been a lot that has come up in this last year, especially around having a baby and the reality that that's probably not going to happen. And that really made me also just like stand up a little bit more and just, okay, then what do I want? I thought that this is what I wanted with him. It is what I wanted. And I've been really grieving just that reality of, just closing down the womb space and being okay with it. And there's like some excitement around that. And then also just deep, deep sadness that I'm just trying to figure out how to let go of. And also like the anger and resentment to him that I'm also having to like just look at and let go of. That's hard.
You are so held, so loved, and so supported. And I think it's really profound and beautiful that even in it being hard, you took a big stand for what you want and what you deserve. So massive.
Yeah. Yeah, it felt really good. And it's been really wonderful to also watch him rise up to the occasion. That's felt really good too. Um, and now it's just like continuing with that. And like I'm prepping to go into this ayahuasca ceremony next week on Friday. And that medicine is really intense, and that like almost as soon as you decide that you're going to be working with her, she's just like, whoop, all right, let's start just dropping in, and like here are some things that we're going to be like, you're going to like look at this, that we can go in and really do this. And so I'm not surprised, you know, with a lot of what has happened in the last few weeks, but yeah, I think that's one of the biggest things that I really want to let go. I was just like, where do I put this anger? Where do I put this just like frustration and resentment and sadness? Because I don't want to carry it anymore. Like when a friend of mine just said to me the other day, she was like, just sometimes when I'm with you, like I just feel this deep, deep sadness, and it just like makes me want to cry because I don't want you to have to hold that anymore. And I was like, well, fuck. Really? Like that's your experience when you're with me? But she's like really tapped into me, you know? And so like I get it. You know, and I at first got a little defensive and felt really bad about it. And I was like, well, no, that's real. That's real. I've been sitting with sadness too. And it's been just a whole other wave of that, you know, just like this reality of like I don't have a lot of storage in my place, but like I have bins and bins and bins of baby stuff that I just been holding on to. And I need to like just like go up. I just can't do it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know.
How it feels.
Yeah. I guess I just want to offer that, like, even if you get rid of all of the baby stuff, and even if things change in your partnership, and even if several more years go by, if you are meant to have another baby, that's just still gonna happen. Because Janet Jackson had a baby at 52 and then went on 4. So
I know, it's real.
Like while it may be the end of the dream of like the baby you thought you were going to have with Jason in this time, in this way, at this time, it
totally,
that the end of that dream only makes space for whatever's coming next to be what it needs to be.
100%. And I feel that. Yeah. And I know that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I wasn't really expecting to
It's okay.
try, but yeah.
So
I've been playing my ukulele more.
hey.
I learned a song. Maybe I'll play it for y'all on the phone.
I think you should. Let's do it. Like let's close out with that in a second when we do our finished check-ins. I would love that. Thank you. Lauren, trying to unmute you. Oh gosh, what? I'm frozen. Okay, there you go.
Oh, no, not tonight.
Oh, okay.
I don't think I'm muted.
You're not muted, but you're frozen. But okay, not tonight. Yeah.
Just
we can't hear you. I'm gonna mute you again. We can't hear you. Oh, that. Hi, Lauren.
Hi. Check in. I've just had a lot going on in terms of lots of thinking about next steps, and I guess I know that I'm like in a phase where I'm about to go further into some other shifts and life changes, and that's cool, but this also feels like a little bit of a limbo, and yet that feels right too. Like I think that that's where I'm supposed to be right now. Yeah, but there's just a lot to think about and wonder about, and I get stuck in fear, but I'm also pretty, doing like Life Align boot camp gave me a lot of tools to be able to work with that. So I know that like that's going to be there, but I also have things I can do. I just do them, which is, I think, part of the mentality is there, and like my connection to spirit is there, and acting on things. I don't think I've quite like solidified that part of my work right now, but I'm getting there. I just feel a bit like in a limbo, which maybe is a Mercury thing. I don't know. There's a lot of that going on in my life right now.
When you say that you've been feeling into next steps, you mean with work?
Mostly work, yeah. Yeah.
One of the big themes of this full moon is there being conflict between your thoughts and your feelings.
Yeah.
Is that feeling present?
I think so, yeah, because I can pretty easily get stuck in my head, and yeah. To keep it brief, we had like a big weird thing go down at work where someone was strongly encouraged to leave very quickly, and that kind of stuff happens somewhat frequently at my workplace for like the size of the company. And it gave me it just tapped right back into like a lot of like busy stuff in my head about what's my role in this, and what's my future here, which is in a way it's not super productive to be there, but that's where it is right now. So conflict probably feels pretty accurate. Yeah.
Did you notice any shifts in terms of money stuff since between May and now?
I have been thinking about that, and something changed. Yes, and I also feel like I have more, probably a little more work to do in that, because I feel like my mind is, I'm a lot more aware of my mindset and my beliefs, and I'm keep trying to change the way that I go about engaging with money. But I think my energy is probably still not 100% matched to abundance, because it just feels like that's probably the case. But I feel good about the progress that I've made so far, because there's a lot that I feel like I'm starting to unpack about money beliefs, like where it comes from, and that feels good. That feels really good.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Rachel, I'm pretty sure that's you. I'm unmuting you.
Oh, hi.
Hi, how are you?
Good, how are you?
Good. So, did you get a chance to watch the Money Witch Taurus New Moon call in May?
No.
Cool.
Is that a separate video?
It was our meeting. It was our meeting in May. We had Jessie Susanna, the Money Witch, come on as a guest, and she led a workshop for us in May. And so with the Taurus full moon that we're coming into, it ties back to that new moon. And so one of the things I had been asking people was if they had noticed any shifts since that new moon.
Mm-hmm.
But you can check in about anything.
Cool. Yeah, I remember that, but no, I didn't watch it. I remember thinking it was cool, and then
they're all still there, you guys. All the calls are still on YouTube. You can go watch them.
Oh, okay. Cool. Yeah. Since May, I mean, technically I had money in May, and now I don't. In a way, right? But I guess I've been trying to change the way I think about money instead of like what I just did, basically thinking I have it and then I don't have it. It's kind of not the best way to look at it. I've been, thinking about the thing that you said, and I think it was in Unstuck a couple weeks ago, about investing in yourself regardless of any other outside thoughts you have. So I've been trying to just keep that up and figure out how to change my mind up. I mean, change how I think about myself, basically, which is really hard to do sometimes in a steady way. I am still kind of like what Lauren was saying. I don't know what I'm doing, so I'm figuring it out day by day. And I guess that's my update.
It seems like you kind of locked in with at least the clarity that you're starting a business and you know what the business is, or have an idea of the things the business is built around.
Maybe. I would say that I'm not totally, like I was saying, I guess on the group, I'm not really clear yet on how that's going to look. So I'm just accepting that I'm maybe 10 years behind where I thought I might be now. So I have to just see what happens. Am I going to be able to create a business or not? So
wait, can I answer that? Can I answer that question? It's up to you.
I know what you're gonna say, but I don't know. I don't know what I'm doing.
That question is, it's up to you.
I know.
Decide that.
Yeah.
Like, do you create a business or not is 100% only determined by whether or not you decide that you're going to create a business.
Yeah, for sure. That's true. I could keep trying to talk around that, but yeah, you're right.
But that's a great thing. I mean, no one else is in charge of that outcome. If we had to have other people's permission to be successful in business, literally no one would be successful.
Yeah. I need to spend more time meditating. I mean, I'm really bad at meditating. I basically get up usually after 2 minutes, but just quiet time, maybe I can call it, thinking about what is it that I 100% know I have to do, or else when I'm dead, whenever that is, will I, regret it that I didn't do it, there must be something I have to do, right? Besides eat and sleep. So there must be.
I think so.
I
said, I think so.
You think so, yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I'm definitely inspired by everyone else in the group too. And it's funny, when Kim was sharing, I was late, so I started when she was sharing. I'm also one of those people that's super inspired by Kim right now, and by my buddy Laura, because it's never too late just to do whatever it is you want to do. Any day is a good day. Start, basically, and I'm excited to hopefully have that be a thing, and I feel like I'm closer. It's just hard right now, but I'm getting closer.
Good. I'm glad. Thank you.
Thank you.
I know we went long, and I'm glad everyone got a chance to check in. I don't want to keep us too much longer. I want to share a couple things. I'm excited for the ritual. I haven't done it yet, but I have all my stuff sitting there looking at me, and I'm doing like full 7-day candles for all of those candles. Like I'm going to do a kind of big working because I feel like I have a bunch of stuff to work through. But I'm excited to hear how the ritual goes for people. I'm going to talk about this at some point somewhere this week on live or Unstuck or Instagram somewhere. But I've had this thought kind of rattling around about being aware of the stories we're telling ourselves about how hard things are or how long they will take. Because like in the same way that we might find that we have, like we'll find a block or we'll find a limiting belief, or we'll be like, oh, I realized that the thing that I'm struggling with or the thing that traumatized me was X. And okay, great, I realized what it is and I can work through it. But then sometimes the follow-up thought is, but it's gonna take a really long time because I've had this trauma for a really long time, or it's gonna take a really long time because I've been like this since I was a child, or it's going to be really hard to heal this because the trauma was so deep or so painful. Or it's going to take a really long time to start making this much money because, it's going to take a really long time to start making this much money because I'm so far from that much money right now. That our ideas about how hard it will be to let things go, how hard it will be to heal certain things, how long it will take to do certain things are also frequently a limiting belief. So like recently, just when I've been talking to people and they're like, yeah, it's just like, you know, it's just really, really hard to change this. I've been like, well, or maybe it's not. Like, what if we just enter in that thought? Like, maybe it's not. Maybe it's not hard to drop a belief that you've had since childhood. Like, maybe it's not. Maybe the fact that it's hard is because we tell ourselves that it's hard. In fact, based on confirmation bias and how we know the brain works, we can guarantee it is really hard for us to change beliefs that we tell ourselves it's really hard to change. That is, in fact, self-fulfilling. It has to be. If we tell ourselves it's going to take me a really long time to accomplish this, then it will. But if we were like, when we can remove that block, that pin of like, I can fix this now. I can declare myself healed now. I can declare that I move forward with a new, clearer sense of who I am and how I operate from this moment. Like, what if I could allow it to be that easy and see what happens when I take on that allowing, that space? Like, what if instead of like this being pushing a ball uphill, it's like a pin is removed and suddenly everything gets to flow downhill? Like, what if it could be that easy? What if it's not about me putting in tons of effort as much as it is me just letting go? What if every day of my life up till this moment has been the roller coaster climbing to the top of the hill, and now all I have to do is put my hands up and scream? Like, what if all the work's been done and now I can just release into it? And I know for myself, I catch myself in that way with money a lot. And so I was thinking about the live I did at the beginning of this month in Unstuck, talking about numbers from my business. And one of the things I said was that I've consistently doubled my income. So like last year, I doubled my income from the year before. And this year, my goal was to double my income from last year. But I had a belief that $10,000 a month was a really, really lot of money, and it was going to be really hard for me to do it, and that it was going to take a long time. Once I shifted that belief, it has been a lot easier for me to consistently hit that number. And not only that, the second I did it, I realized I could have done it 2 years ago, except I had the belief 2 years ago that it was going to take me a really long time to get there from where I was. So it had to go that way, right? Because I kept holding it off as something big and something hard and something really far away. And it never got closer because I kept holding it as something big and something hard and something far away. But the second I started working backwards from the goal and just being like, well, what's the next level version of me like? Like if the 6-figure version of me goes to yoga 3 times a week and I don't go to yoga at all, why don't I start with going to yoga 3 times a week? If the 6-figure version of me has a coach and right now I'm telling myself I can't have one because I'm not paying for it, why don't I go like figure out the money to pay for a coach? If the 6-figure version of me has her sales planned out for a year in advance, why don't I have my sales planned out for a year in advance? Like, why don't I figure out what the 6-figure version of me lives like and start living that way, not in a fake bypass way where I'm going to put myself in credit card debt, but just literally in terms of like how I show up for my work and how I think about my work. Why am I waiting for the money to come before I start doing the things that would be required to get me the money? Right? Like once I kind of flip-flopped that, and a big part of that did come from our workshop with Jessie Susanna. That was just something, I don't even remember what the prompt was that she said that caused the shift for me. But there was something about identity and about like how you show up at that income level. Like, how do you show up as that version of yourself? And once I made the shift and then the money showed up, which like it has to energetically, I was like, oh, I literally could have done this 3 years ago had I not had the belief that this was going to take a long time. And it's just like interesting. I was at a meeting recently for Thick Strip, and one of the girls, we were talking about like where we want Thick Strip to go. And she was like, yeah, well, that's like 5 years off. And I was like, why? I mean, it is, if that's what you believe it is as the person who's running the business, because I'm not going to do any legwork. I just show up and fucking teach my classes. I just work here. But if you believe that we're 5 years out from the level of success you want this business to have, be aware that we're guaranteed 5 years out. But do you think most people start businesses thinking they're not going to make money for 5 years? That's crazy. It's nuts. But a lot of people do. They like start with this like, oh, well, it's probably going to be really hard and take a long time, and I'm probably going to have to scrimp and save and suffer, and I'm probably not going to make money for years. And it's like, well, that will be what happens. So that's kind of like just something that I've been thinking about a lot, is this, we may get our mind around like, okay, I believe it's possible for me. And then sometimes the follow-up belief is the sneaky other one about how hard it will be or how long it will take. That is also a limiting belief that's happening in concert with the other one. So yeah, first we unblock, is it possible? And then we look at like the qualifiers around the possibility. Yeah, there's sneaky traps in there. Sneaky traps. That was my thought. The other thing that I wanted to say, and I'll post this in the group too, but I just want to say it to you, is that over the next few weeks, you're going to see an incredible amount of promotion for next year's MasterMoon. So I just want to remind everyone 2 things. One is that your rate, whatever your rate is your rate forever. You're a founding member. Your rate is your rate. You're locked in. So as long as you want to keep participating, you're in. There are 2 things that will be different. One is this will be a 2-tiered program next year. There will be a DIY option, because there were people in this year's group who like paid for the whole group but never once joined a call. But they said that they've liked the emails and they've done the rituals. So what I'm making basically is like a DIY witch option, where you just get the emails and you get, you're in the Facebook group and you can come to like the special event rituals, but you won't be on the Zoom calls. And then the full Coven members get everything that we've always gotten. You'll get the Zoom calls. The other thing I'm adding for full Coven members next year is that I will do audios of the ritual. So you will have a guided audio. Yeah, so that's something I'm excited about. So there will be 2 prices for everyone else, not for you guys. You guys will get the full Coven member thing the same. If you are currently at a higher rate, right? You're at the $56 a month or whatever rate. I will be putting something out. The The Black Friday sale that I'm offering for the public is that if they want to pay for the year in advance, they can pay $56 for the full coven member. They can basically lock in this year's rate as the Black Friday offering. It's $666 for the whole year. So if you're at that rate and you want to just pay for the whole year on Black Friday, you can, and you'll just be locked in for all of next year. Otherwise, at the end of the year, your current payment subscription ends in December, and I'll send you a link to renew it, and you can just renew it. Some people are at a different rate, like Body Love Lab members had a discount. So like there's a few different rates already in this group. If, however, you want to go down to the DIY Witch level and you're like, hey, rather than paying whatever I'm paying per month and being a full coven member, I'd like to drop my service down to the $33 a month and just do the DIY. You guys can always do that option, but you won't be charged more to do the full coven member option is what I'm saying. So I just wanted to put that out there. So yeah, if you see all kinds of hype about like buying things, don't click on them. Don't buy anything. Don't be swept up by my marketing hype. You're all covered. You'll get an internal link that's different. I'm going to post a poll about this, about what we think about adding next year's people into this year's group and letting them like kind of see the history, because they won't be able to see the calls. The calls have all been on YouTube and via email. They'll just see backlog conversation. Or if we want to start a full new Facebook group. But if we start a new Facebook group, it will be like one group forever, because I do want to start building some continuity and some like sense of community. So I'm going to do a poll in the group and ask people what they think, if we should open up our group and like just keep adding people as they go. And then as we discussed, the other change that will happen next year is that new moon will be this format, hot seat format. Full moon ritual, I will lead the ritual. So we'll do actual full moon circle together. Yeah, so we'll do candles, I'll lead meditation, we'll do some stories. There will be some like just a little bit more of that, like what we've done on some of the like equinox kind of stuff is what we'll do on full moon, which I think will have a really nice pace, because then people can use new moon hot seat stuff more in that intention setting, starting new things, getting feedback thing. And then in full moon, we can really be focused on release and celebration every full moon. So I'm really excited. Just wanted to give you guys those updates. I will be posting about them in the group, but I wanted to let you know when you start seeing all of these things, people saying, join, you don't have to do it. Will the meetings be the same? Like they're longer? They will never be longer. Oh my God. We already go forever. They'll probably be the same length because I can't seem to make anything an hour. I just talk too much. All these coaches who are like, I charge $5,000 and people get 3 calls and they're 90 minutes long or they're 60 minutes long. I'm like, I don't even know how you deliver anyone anything in 60 minutes. I can't. We barely get started. I feel the same way about dance class. I'm like, what is a 60-minute dance class? I can't. What is life? I can't. Okay. Taurus things. We like everything to be slow and thorough. Okay, I think that's all and plenty. And we talked forever. Thank you for the check-in. I love you guys so much. I will talk to you very soon. Love, 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 love. Bye.